Wait a little bit to see we get some people in here. Um, this is definitely going to be a different show. PickDawgz is meant for, sports betting picks, and this week we don't have fights, which is kind of a bummer. So, just going to go over, the events that happened this past weekend, and some upcoming fights, some big fight announcements happened. So, just going to go over that and just kind of talk about the news. And
Perfect.
if the
You want to
people,
jump into UFC 257 real quick?
yeah, for sure. And the people who are rolling in here, if you guys got any questions, this is a good show to, drop some questions and we could answer them. Or, any of your guys' takes on, maybe the fights that happened this weekend or some upcoming fights. We'll definitely answer those. But yeah, I'm ready to get into, UFC 257. It's a pretty crazy card. The co-main event and main event were definitely the bangers. Other than that, it was a pretty boring card. But how'd you feel about it overall?
I felt like it was a really good card main event wise. Joanne Calderon and Jessica I felt like, it was a great fight, honestly, the co-main event. And then, the co-main event was great. I don't think anyone's ever had a better UFC debut than Michael Chandler. And, he showed out and, he showed that the Bellator fighters, they might not be fighting the same level of competition as UFC, but they're the real deal. So I was really impressed with his performance. And of course, Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Brad, great pick, by the way.
Thank you.
I don't know how I overlooked that, but, I'm definitely not going to apologize for it. So, I do think that Dustin, though, was disrespected by Vegas, though, for being such a big underdog.
Yeah, very disrespected. And I was talking to you yesterday. I said, Payne, I have a big question to ask for you on the show. And I think it's time to bring it up. So when this fight came out, Conor versus Poirier came out about 2 months ago, Payne texted me and said, Poirier all day, bet the house. Poirier all day. And then I do the live show with him on Wednesday, and he tells me, I got Conor McGregor, second round knockout. I
Oh
want to
my
hear
God.
from you what changed from 2 months ago to last Wednesday.
I guess, Brad, it was just like I was on the Dustin Poirier hype train. Like I love Dustin. He's one of my favorite fighters in the UFC, if not my most favorite. However, as we got closer and closer and closer to the fight, and Conor McGregor comes to Abu Dhabi on a yacht, he comes in, he's in a Bentley, he pulls up with his shirt off. It really changed the game for me. His confidence, how he's changed in the press conference, he was somewhat humble. But I think all of that kind of backfired on him. And getting in Dustin Poirier's head in the first fight with is exactly what Dustin said made the difference within the fight. So, as like I said, as the fight got closer and closer, and I heard more interviews and I heard more prediction videos, and I was listening to all these news outlets, I just slowly began to change my mind. But if you rewatch the video, I said there is a lot of value with Poirier as a dog, a lot. But I do think Poirier is going to get knocked out in the second or third round. I was wrong, but
Yeah, it
whatever.
was
We only look
interesting.
forward.
Like you were on Poirier in the beginning, and then you fell for the Conor McGregor curse. You fell for the
I fell
swag.
for it.
It's okay. It's okay. But that was my question, because I thought we were both on Poirier very early, and I was surprised to hear that pick. But we got some questions rolling in. Do you want to answer them as the show goes through, or kind of at the end? You would say.
Whatever you want to do. If you just want to throw one at us, let's do it.
Yeah. So this guy has Marlo. I see him in the chat a lot. Marlo seems like a good guy. He says, can Overeem win, and better yet, can he still win 2 or 3 more? That would mean a title shot. Overeem's been on a little streak, man. He's took some bad losses, that Francis Ngannou knockout, but lately he's been fighting good. Do you see a possibility of Overeem, winning 2 or 3 more fights and getting that title shot?
I do, man. He's a tank. I don't think you can ever underestimate Overeem, and I honestly think he's going to win against Volkov as well. Let me look up the odds real quick. I had them. They just came out an hour ago. Where are they?
Yeah, look those up. My opinion on it, I mean, Overeem, incredible kickboxer, probably the best heavyweight kickboxer of all time. So there is always a shot there. I just don't know. When he goes against the cream of the crop, the Stipes, the Francises, I think he could have trouble against Curtis Blades. I don't see him, getting that title shot and winning. I could see him winning the fight against Volkov, but I don't know if he once he gets in that top 3, top 4 guys, I don't know how it's going to go for him. So if I had to put money on it, I would definitely say no on Overeem getting a title shot. But what's the odds you got there on it?
It's still it's not there yet.
The odds aren't there?
I misspoke. I thought I wrote them down, but they're not up yet. That was one of the few fights that hasn't been released yet.
Gotcha. No worries.
Anyways, but yeah, I agree with you, Brad. If I had to bet money on it, I would say no. But like I said, you can't underestimate Overeem. I definitely think he'll beat Volkov, and unfortunately, we don't have the lines right now. But
I have him pulled up.
He's just a powerful guy. What?
I have the lines pulled up. Alistair Overeem is a plus 145 underdog. Volkov is a minus 175 favorite.
Great value. Great value.
You like Overeem in that?
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a stand-up fight, and it's hard to go against Overeem during a stand-up fight. So
that fight will not go to the ground one time. If there's a prop bet for 0 takedown defense, lock it.
Totally. We got another question here from Dustin Brown. What do you think about John Jones moving up, and do you think he'll still dominate at heavyweight?
I think it all depends on the matchup. Of course, I want to see the John Jones Stipe fight, but is UFC going to do that? Are they going to give him the ability to fight for the title right off the bat? When you've got guys like Francis, Curtis, even I don't want to say Derek Lewis, but he is the 4th ranked heavyweight in the world. So, I do think he'll dominate, and I think he'll do well, but it'll be interesting to see what he does against the 2 guys that I'm worried about for him are Francis and Stipe.
Yep.
But, if he can get past the first round with Francis, he's going to win that fight easily.
Yeah. I think he will be very successful in the heavyweight division. It's hard to bet against John Jones. The only time we really seen him kind of look not great was that Dominic Reyes fight. But yeah, I think he will be dominant. I think he would beat Francis Ngannou pretty easily, honestly. The Stipe fight is what I would worry about. Just because Stipe is just a much better all-around fighter. And when you're talking about an all-around fighter, John Jones is the definition of just a great all-around fighter, and that's why he's had great success. So like you said, if he fights Francis for the title, he survives that first round, I think he's able to take him down and do what he wants on the ground. If Stipe wins the title and he fights Stipe, that could get a little tough for him. In my opinion, I think that would be a really close fight, but I think John Jones will have a great success at heavyweight. He's looking big too. If you look at his Instagram, the pictures he's posting,
he's huge.
He's looking thick, man. He does not. It looks like a different John Jones. So,
did you see the video of him on the Ring doorbell with the kids that came up to his house and were asking him their predictions for the Conor and Poirier fight?
Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool.
John Jones
he's
is
talking to him.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like John Jones is one of those guys. It's like you do that, and John Jones is the type of guy to post it to make everyone think he's a good guy, though. I kind of got that vibe. It's like
that's very true.
It's like when he was doing it, the whole time in the back of his mind was, "Oh yeah, I'm posting this.
I'm posting this on the gram. I'm sending this to my agent. It'll be up in an hour."
Yeah, John Jones is definitely one of those type of guys. But yeah, like I said, anyone watching, if you have any questions, throw it in the comments. We'll definitely answer them. But do you want to get back to UFC 257?
Yeah, you want to jump right into the Chandler fight?
Yeah, so I agree. Like you said, I slept on Chandler. I hated on Chandler. I disrespected Bellator, and I was wrong. I was wrong big time. I thought Hooker was going to dominate Chandler. Like I said, I don't think the Bellator guys fight the same skill level as the UFC guys, but man, Chandler is legit. I'm not going to bet against them anymore. So. Shout out Michael Chandler, great UFC debut performance, and it was a sweet knockout. So, good job, Chandler.
Yeah, and there are rumors right now that Gaethje's going to be fighting Oliveira, but honestly, I think Chandler should fight Gaethje. I think it's a better matchup stylistically. I think Oliveira runs through Gaethje.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know about you, Brad.
I mean, we have on the rundown here. We could go through it. What's next for the lightweight division? There's only one option for me for the title. It's Dustin Poirier versus Charles Oliveira. And if that's not the fight, then what are you guys doing? If you don't give Charles Oliveira the title shot, I'll be very disappointed in the matchmakers on that one.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I could also see them not giving it to him. But he's definitely deserving of it. And like I said, I think Chandler versus Gaethje would be a great fight. Chandler's Division 1 wrestler, Gaethje's a Division 1 wrestler. Both of them can stand and bang. There's not going to be a huge reach advantage for either of the fighters. It'd be a great fight, especially if it was a main event, 5 rounds, not a co-main event, which is, although the Hooker fight didn't make it out of the first round, I was a tad bit disappointed that we didn't get to see more of Michael Chandler and what he could do.
Yeah.
In my ideal world, I would have liked to see that fight go 2 to 3 rounds and that same outcome happen. But in that fight, I know me and Brad disagree, but he got the Poirier. I picked the dog Chandler. So
Yep. That was cool how we both kind of had like an underdog pick, disagreed heavily, and we both came out on top, so it's all good. And when it came to that Hooker Chandler fight, I think Hooker had a great performance, but I also think Hooker it wasn't his night, man. It just wasn't his night.
No. Yeah. Did you hear about the story? Apparently, the cameras didn't catch this and it wasn't on ESPN. But after the fight, the frustration kicked in and he took off his gloves and threw them in the middle of the octagon. And, as an MMA fighter, that's like culturally, that means you retire.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, he did that out of frustration, I would guess. But culturally wise in MMA, as soon as you take off your gloves and drop them in the octagon, it's over.
Yeah, it was just weird. I think he was just frustrated, which I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Hooker seems like a very competitive guy, trains with some of the best in the world, and have a performance like that, co-main event on Conor McGregor card, it's tough. So, I bet he's feeling it. I saw a picture of him, a couple days ago. He's already back in the gym. So Hooker is not retiring. And man, what a warrior after taking that knockout and being back in the gym, a couple days later is what this sport's about and what I love about it. And that's bringing back to the Conor McGregor thing. How do you expect Conor McGregor to, beat these top level guys when, he's out here on his yacht, doing these business moves, and you got a guy, Dan Hooker, who just got slept and he's back in the gym 2 days later. Or you got Charles Oliveira, who grew up in the favelas in Brazil, training for his life, for his family. I mean, I think the Conor McGregor era is done. Have a lot of respect for him, but I'm so off the Conor McGregor hype train. It's crazy. I will fade Conor McGregor every fight there is. You may think I'm wild, but
how would you feel if the UFC threw him Dan Hooker? So Dan Hooker, they're both coming off of 2 back-to-back losses.
I'm going Dan Hooker.
Would definitely be a heavy favorite in that fight.
I'm going Dan Hooker. I'm fading Conor McGregor every single fight he has till the end of his career, and I'm not hating. I think Vegas overlooks the hype. I think everyone overlooks the hype. Look, Conor McGregor, man, he's a cool dude. Don't get me wrong, but there's people who are fighting for their life out here, fighting for their family. Conor's a made man, and yeah, I don't know. So just off his hype.
Here's the thing, though, Brad. He was talking about fighting Diego Sanchez before. Could you see him doing something crazy like that? Like, would he get away from those top 10 fighters just to get back in the win column? Like he's fought 5 rounds in 4 years or 4 rounds in 5 years. That's a crazy stat to think. And, Dustin Poirier has beat every single fighter. He's beat Jim Miller, Eddie Alvarez, Anthony Pettis, Justin Gaethje. Then he lost to Khabib. Then he beat Dan Hooker. And now he beat Conor McGregor.
It's impressive.
Look at that record. That is an impressive record. That's like a John Jones record.
And you know what it shows? It shows how good Khabib is, man.
Oh, it absolutely does.
I mean, he's a GOAT, bro.
Everyone else.
Him and John Jones are the 2 greatest fighters of all time, in my opinion. Listen to this. My man Marlo here had a tough night. He had Dan Hooker, Conor McGregor, and Khalil Roundtree this Saturday. I'm sorry, Marlo. It's one of those nights. It happens.
It happens, dude. You got to bounce back. You can't look. The best advice I've heard is from Mitch Wilson, PickDawgz founder. And he says after a bad loss, he just jumps in the shower, wash it away. You only look forward. So that's the best advice I can give to you. You'll bounce back. Unfortunately, there's no fights this week to bounce back with, but we'll be back the following week on February 6th.
Yeah, I feel like Marlo is, he bets all sports. I see him in the comments in the morning show too. So hopefully he's killing it on all other sports. Make that day up.
I wonder if he parlayed all those together.
I'm guessing it was a parlay. Sounds like a parlay. Yeah. But what's next on the list here, Payne?
Let's jump into some fight announcements. So Darren Till versus Marvin Vittori at middleweight just got announced for April 10th. And we actually were able to find the odds on that fight since it was released 2 days ago when the last fight was released a day ago. And it's actually a pick 'em. Darren Till is the number 4 middleweight in the world. And, since 2018, he lost to Woodley, Masvidal, and Whitaker. In his last 4 fights, he has 1 win over Kevin Gastelum. And then Vittori's coming in this fight, number 5 ranked middleweight in the world. He's won 4 out of his last 5 bouts. His only UFC losses are to Israel Adesanya and Antonio Carlos Jr., who actually fought on UFC 257. In his last 2 bouts, he did have an impressive performance against Jack Hermanson and Carl Robertson. I really like Vittori in this fight. It'll be interesting to see where the money comes in. And, I don't predict it being a pick 'em throughout. I could definitely see Darren Till ending, like when the line closes, being at least a minus 190 favorite. I don't know what you think, Brad, but I think a lot of the public is going to be on Till.
Yeah, I see it moving a little. I don't see it going all the way up to 190, but yeah, like you were saying, man, we got one guy here, Marvin Vittori, has all the momentum in the world. And then we got a guy, Darren Till, who had all the momentum in the world and has, fought the highest level guys in the world and took some L's. Tough fight to pick. You said the odds are even, right?
Yeah, it's a pick 'em.
Yeah, so this is a tough one for me. I'm a big Darren Till fan. I hope he gets back on the horse and gets a win here. But Marvin Vittori's a tough dude. I'm leaning Darren Till though. I think he's able to keep it outside, use his Muay Thai, use his leg kicks, and pull out a close win. But that's gonna be an interesting fight. We'll see.
Yeah, but what I'm worried about though is his leg kicks. I'm pretty sure he just had double ACL surgery from his last fight against Whitaker. This will be his first fight bouncing back after that. So who the hell knows what's going to happen? If is that knee going to be compromised? Marvin knows that. If we know that, Marvin definitely knows that, and he's going to be firing those leg kicks the entire fight. So I like Vittori, but once again, it's a slight lean. And then in the next fight announcement, the UFC really just knocked out some bangers in the last three or 4 days. They've been announcing a lot of main events, but it's odd, though, that the fight on February 6th, we don't even know who the co-main event is.
Yeah.
We don't even know who's fighting the main card. If you look it up everywhere, all it says is Overeem versus Volkov, which is somewhat frustrating because we want to definitely do all the research and everything. But whatever. But the UFC did announce Whitaker versus Costa at middleweight on April 17th. Whitaker, the line opened up at minus 190, and Costa is a plus 165 underdog. Whitaker is the number 1 ranked middleweight in the world. Since 2018, he's won 3 out of his last 4 fights. His last loss was to Israel Adesanya in 2019, but before his last loss, he was on a 9-fight win streak. Whitaker's been extremely active in his last 2 fights. He did win against Jared Cannonier and Darren Till. And then you got Costa. He's coming in as the number 2 middleweight in the world. In Costa's last fight, he was scorched by Israel Adesanya, and it was quite frankly embarrassing for him. But before his loss for Israel, he was on a 10-fight win streak. But in my pick, I really think Whitaker will win this fight. I think he's fought better talent throughout his career, and Costa's stamina is really questionable and concerning, and especially during a 5-round fight in the main event. I could see this being a war, but I would pick Whitaker to win this fight.
Yeah, this one's tough for me, man. I'm a big fan of both guys. Don't like this fight for Paulo Costa at all. I wish the UFC would have gave him a Marvin Vittori, gave him a Darren Till, gave him a Jared Cannonier, but you give him Robert Whitaker. Like, come on, you ain't doing him any favors on this one. It's hard for me to pick Paulo Costa on this one. Robert Whitaker is just an absolute animal, easily the second best middleweight in the world. I would love to see the rematch with Stylebender, and I think he does have a chance in that fight. I know Payne will disagree with me on that one, but tough fight for Paulo Costa. UFC's not doing him favors here.
In my opinion, what the UFC should have done is they should have done Darren Till versus Jared Cannonier, number 3 versus number 4, and then throw Paulo Costa a bone. Paulo Costa, let him fight Marvin Vittori. I'm not saying that that's an easy fight, but ranking wise, it's a number 5 rank. Marvin would absolutely take that fight.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's able to jump up the rankings. So I think that would be a better matchup for Paula stylistically. But, I do see Whitaker running through Paulo Costa.
Yeah, don't like that fight at all. Marlo brought up another fight announcement that we did not talk about. Corey Sandhagen versus Frankie Edgar.
Did that just get released?
I don't think it got just
That might have
released.
been a few weeks ago.
Yeah, but I don't know how you feel about
Yeah.
that one. I mean, I know we're both big Corey Sandhagen fans. And personally, in my opinion, I think he knocks out Frankie Edgar.
Oh, yeah. If I would be surprised if it was a pick 'em and anything close to that. Sandhagen's going to come into that fight as like the -230 favorite.
I'm guessing
Yeah,
Sandhagen -300. I mean, Frankie Edgar's only chance is to get him on the ground and keep him there, but
and
there
that
is a
won't
chance.
happen.
But
Here's my question: why would you take that fight if you're Sandhagen?
that's
I don't get it.
I mean, if he wins that fight, he gets a title shot again, or a title shot. So
Yeah,
easy
I don't
money.
know why he just didn't hold out though, because you got Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling fighting relatively soon. That fight's been announced too. I don't know the date off the top of my head, but it's within the next 2 to 3 months.
This guy Yodis Chode, funny name, says, "Is it Edgar versus Sandhagen the co-main event for the Overeem fight?" I hope so.
I hope so.
It's not on
If you
Google or
find that
anything.
on Google, please let us know because we've been researching all day and we cannot find the rest of that fight
Yeah.
card anywhere. I don't know if it's not been announced or what it may be, but
I don't know. I would love that if that's on next weekend's card. So
I
that would
don't think
be
it is. I
yeah.
don't think it is.
I don't know.
I
We
would be
will see.
very surprised.
Sometimes you got to trust the chat though. Oh, it is.
Yeah. No,
Everyone's saying it is. So we got a banger coming next
okay.
week. So
Yeah,
okay.
sorry. Yeah, but Corey Sandhagen, if he comes in at like a minus, if he's anywhere in the hundreds or low 200, I would say if he's a -230, that'd be a great parlay piece if you're just looking for a lock. But anything above that, don't include him in a parlay. But I do think that he'll win that fight.
Yeah, someone in the comments saying he's like a -400. So
Okay, yeah.
which
Then
makes
never
sense.
mind.
Which
Yeah.
which makes
Then
sense.
definitely look into the prop bets. Look up if it's a co-main, so it'll be 3 rounds. Look into the prop bets that potentially uh, Sandhagen winning inside the distance. That would be interesting to see
Yeah.
what that was.
Yeah, and then the next fight announcement we got this weekend, Stipe versus Francis. Finally, my man Francis Ngannou could get back in that ring and do his thing. Well, what's the odds on that? The opening odds? Do you remember?
Yeah, so Francis opened up as a -170, and Stipe opened up as a +150.
What you feeling on that so far?
Stipe. I mean, that's the lock of the year. Stipe is
You're
a dog.
crazy.
I'm crazy.
You're crazy.
You think Francis is gonna win this fight?
I mean, I think the value lies with Stipe, but lock of the year, I could easily see Stipe getting his head absolutely knocked off his body.
Yeah, but the reason it's the lock of the year is because Stipe's in plus money. Here's
Yeah.
the thing. If he can live and survive through the first round, he is going to dominate Francis. Dominate. It's just the problem is I don't know this off the top of my head, but Francis, I'm pretty sure, has won his last 3 fights within the first 30 seconds at least,
Yeah.
if not minute. So as long as Stipe doesn't get caught, Stipe's already beat him. It's just Francis in that fight didn't come out guns blazing and come out so hot. He kind of stayed composed, and Stipe just picked him apart throughout the entire 5 rounds. And Stipe did win that fight via decision. Stipe at plus money. I think there's so much value there. Yes, I could see Francis coming out and knocking Stipe out in the first 10 seconds of the fight. But like I said, if the fight lasts more than a round, Stipe will win this fight. So here's my advice. Hold off on betting and do a live bet after the first round of the fight. And see if you can get Stipe at if you can get him in plus money still, definitely take that.
Yeah, I don't know what the public's going to be on for that one. I feel like, the Francis hype train's pretty hot right now. So I think a lot of people, I could see a lot of people betting on Francis. But, I mean, to win the fight, gun in my head, I'm taking Francis. I think he comes out and wins this fight. But I do agree with you. If you're a betting man and you're going to bet this fight, Stipe is where the value's at. But, scary bet against Francis Ngannou, let me tell you what.
And like I said, that's why my best advice is to hold off if Stipe gets past that first round, lock a live bet. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up this next topic, Brad. And we're going to get a lot of hate for this, talking about this on an MMA channel. And I'm sorry for you guys, but another fight was announced, but it wasn't MMA, it was boxing. And we've got ex-UFC veteran Ben Askren fighting Jake Paul. And Askren's coming in as a plus 105, and Paul's coming in as a plus minus 155. So I guess my question to you, Brad, is who is your pick in this fight? And if your pick is Askren, do you think the Vegas got the lines wrong? Should he be the favorite?
Yeah, it's just a funny fight. Like, me and Payne, we're some fight junkies, so we like to watch this stuff. But these fights are just all silly. I enjoy them. I know a lot of people hate these, YouTuber fights, celebrity fights, but man, it's fun to watch. I'm liking Ben Askren in this fight. I'm not a Jake Paul hater like a lot of people are. I respect the kid. He's a hard worker. And picking up boxing is not an easy thing. But yeah, I like Ben Askren in this fight, man. He's fought Robbie Lawler. He's fought Douglas Lima. I mean, Jake Paul, he should be able to take those shots. It's hard to pick, man. You know.
It's absolutely terrifying to pick because at the same time, I'm not a Jake Paul fan, but Jake Paul, you can't deny that he does have some boxing skills. Yes, he has faced low-level talent. Yes, the guys that he's faced probably have never even been punched in the face before in their entire lives. But, he's working. He's grinding. He's been boxing for over, I believe, 4 years now, training professionally, training with the best, and he has the finances to do it too. So he moved to Miami to go to a better training camp. Like I said, Ben Askren's stand-up is just terrible. Terrible. Do yourself a favor and, like Jake Paul said, go on Google and type in Ben Askren stand-up. It is terrible. And, during MMA, he heavily relied on his ground game. That was the only way he won fights. If they stayed on the feet, the only fight that stayed on the feet was him versus Damian Maia. And half of the memes that come from that Google search are during that fight. So, I think Ben Askren, I don't think he gets knocked out by Jake Paul, but I do think Paul wins by decision. And, I'm sure that live chat's going crazy right now that we're even talking about this, but that's who I pick, Brad.
You're going who?
I'm going Jake Paul by decision.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think Jake Paul is going to win this fight. And I don't think the only reason I don't think he's not going to knock out Ben. No way. No way he knocks Ben Askren. But he might win by decision. And even though the value is with Askren, his stand-up is terrible. Terrible. Terrible.
It's terrible in an MMA fight because, he's using his stand-up to set up the takedowns. He's not standing up like, okay, I'm going to knock this guy out. He kind of just messes around and looks for the takedown. So it'll be interesting to see how he looks when, the objective is to actually punch him in the face. So
I guess the hard part is like we've seen Jake Paul box, and I've seen Ben Askren stand up in the UFC, and it is a completely different sport. You've got to worry about getting taken down. You got to worry about the submission threat. You got to worry about getting hit with a flying knee. There are so many different equations that could happen, or conclusions that could happen throughout a fight. And in boxing, like you said, your one goal is to protect yourself and try and knock the other guy out. So it'll be interesting to see how Ben Askren transitions. I do think that there's some value with Ben at plus 105, but like I said, I just think his lack of stand-up and his overall boxing abilities potentially could be a significant or could really not be good for him. I've got Jake Paul in this fight.
Hey, I'll let you have that, man. You could take Jake Paul. We'll see. I say we bring up one more topic that we thought about yesterday. And it's what trilogy fight would you rather see? Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz. We'll end on this topic. What you feel on that? Who would you rather see in a trilogy?
Nate Diaz all day.
Yeah.
The outcome for Dustin Poirier, I already know what's going to happen. Poirier's going to win. And, I did sleep on the second fight. At the time when they fought the first time, I wasn't even into odds and anything, so I had no pick in that fight. But, I got to say Nate Diaz. I think it'd be a better fight. I think it'd be a better bounce back fight for Conor. I think it would do incredible pay-per-view numbers. I think the UFC would be excited about doing it, and it might give Conor the opportunity to come back and win. And once again, I want to very clearly say Nate's a dog. I'm not like underestimating Nate, but I do think that that's a better matchup for Conor versus Dustin Poirier.
Yep, I would agree. We talked about this yesterday. They have odds for if Poirier and McGregor came out or fought again for the third time, and McGregor is still the favorite. What is Vegas thinking, man? If Poirier and McGregor fought 10 times today, or in this current times, I think Poirier would win 9 out of 10 times. Y'all may think I'm crazy or a Conor McGregor hater. I'm not. I just think Conor McGregor doesn't have a chance to beat Dustin Poirier. It's just different levels at this stages of their career. So yeah, give me that Nate Diaz Conor McGregor fight. That's the fight to make for Conor McGregor. Let's get as much money as we can for the UFC promotion with Conor McGregor. I don't see him fighting much more, so I think we throw away the hopes of another title shot or Conor McGregor holding that belt again. And man, let's make some money fights with this guy. Make a Masvidal fight, make a Nate Diaz fight. That's where I think that we need to go with Conor McGregor.
Yeah, and I could also see him going the route. What about Paul Felder? Aside from the trilogy, I know that that's kind of like off the question that we were originally talking about, but I could see him getting paired with Paul Felder.
I like it. I think that's a fair
I
fight.
like it. It's a good bounce back fight for Conor. Paul Felder's coming off of 2 back-to-back losses, Dan Hooker and RDA. So I think it'd be a great bounce back fight for Conor. And, I don't, you can't underestimate Paul Felder either. He's a dog too. So both coming off of back-to-back losses too. I don't want to say they're fighting for their lives because they're definitely not. Paul Felder will definitely be contracted or still have a contract or a UFC contract. And so will McGregor if he wants to come back and fight after that. But I think that's a great bounce back fight for Conor.
Totally. And this guy, Jay Austin, he says he thinks McGregor's better option is Dustin. He beat Nate the last time, so nothing to gain there. And way more to gain if he beats Dustin. But Jay Austin, man, I don't think he could beat Dustin, man. I just don't think it's a winnable fight for him. And that's the problem here. If I thought it was a winnable fight, then yeah, fight Dustin. If he wins that, title shot. I just don't see it going well for him if he fights Dustin. And I could see him going to sleep again. So I think Nate is a winnable fight. I think it makes both of them money. It makes the promotion money. And that's kind of my take on it. I got lots of respect for Conor McGregor, but I just don't think he's going to beat the cream of the crop of the lightweight division. So it's kind of my take on it. But yeah, we're about 32 minutes in, Payne. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
One last thing. Right before this, I was watching an interview with Justin Gaethje, and he said that he was willing to fight anyone in the top 5, and he was also willing to fight Nate Diaz.
Okay.
So
what do you like for Justin Gaethje, real quick? Who do you like for Justin Gaethje?
I think Chandler. I think that's a matchup to make. I think stylistically and MMA math-wise, that's a great fight. That is a great fight. And Oliveira, I could see that fight just being on the ground. Justin Gaethje gets submitted in round 1 or 2. So I don't think that's a good fight. I think Justin Gaethje, I'm a big fan of his, but I think he's going to struggle getting to that championship status because the lightweight division, the 155-pounders are stacked. The entire division stacked. There's not a single guy in the top 10 that I think Conor McGregor might be able to beat other than maybe 2 guys, which would be maybe Paul Felder and maybe Diego Fierro. I even think RDA would beat Conor at this point based off his performance with against Poirier. But at the same time, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, but I just don't know.
Yeah, well, I totally agree with you. The fights are to make for the belt: Poirier versus Oliveira, and then you go Chandler versus Gaethje. Winner of that gets the winner of the title fight.
Yeah, and then what would you do with Dan Hooker? That's my question. Not that it matters, but would you throw him against RDA? Do you give him Tony? I kind of like Dan Hooker versus Tony.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that would be. I could actually see that happening.
Make it happen,
both
Dana.
Guys, both coming off of 2 losses. Tony's kind of like, I don't know. He's kind of the gatekeeper of the division, and Dustin was ranked, or not Dustin. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. Dan Hooker was ranked ahead of Tony Ferguson before they fought. So I don't know.
Those are the 3 fights to make right there. Make it
Yeah,
happen, Dana.
yeah.
But awesome, man. You got anything else?
No. I guess we just end it right here and just say subscribe to this channel, guys. If you're watching right now, please hit that like button. We do this for free. It's awesome. We love it. But we want you guys to like this content. Comment if you guys have any suggestions. Follow No Pain No Gain _MMA on Instagram and Brad PickDawgz.
Yes,
And
sir.
we will see you guys on Wednesday of next week, and we will have all the predictions, and we're gonna do all the research this weekend for this upcoming card. So we couldn't be more excited.
Yep. We'll see you guys next Wednesday with some
All right, bye
winners.
guys.
See you guys.